Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. I'm outside again enjoying the spring before we have another winter storm that's due to come through. Today I wanted to chat with you about overwhelm. um, the main reason and the combating of it is I am currently have been in a season of overwhelm for the last year with the guardianship papers and trying to figure out the bureaucracy of that craziness. But the next couple of months are going to be insane. Still doing homeschool, still doing the routines of taking the kids to their karate and their dance and stuff, but there's festivals for their dance, where we're driving to different places. There's medical stuff that we're taking care of. Plus the guardianship is still not figured out. Like there's so much, like just even looking at my calendar where I'm like, and I wanted to talk because it's in my mind about making sure and combating the overwhelm that I thought I would share what I have learned the last year, specifically, but also just speaking to the sense of overwhelm because I've had overwhelm several different times in my life, but I'm thinking about being overwhelmed about high school, like homeschooling a high school student, being overwhelmed with the diagnosis of autism and what that might possibly mean for our family, what that means for our son. Still there, still there. All the birds are going crazy. Excuse me. But there's so much that can overwhelm us, that can take away our peace and our joy because we're like, holy mackerel, how am I going to survive? How am I going to deal with all of the crazy that is? Yeah, like the life is so busy, and there's so many times, and I don't know if you feel this as well, where I'm like, I just want a pause button. I just I want to take, like, the whole world just freezes while I take a few days, weeks, months to be on vacation. And nothing falls apart and nothing is harmed by my taking that time off, but it'll save my sanity. And I know that that is not a possibility. So how do we combat overwhelm? So, the first thing is I have started shrinking down moments, or I go, all I have to do is the very next thing. Today, all I have to do is homeschool my kids. All I have to do after that is take them to karate and dance. Or in this instance, my husband is going to do that while I go to choir because they changed my choir day. Um, I look at it from the standpoint of, um, if you're only looking at the one thing that's directly in front of you and you put blinders on both sides, it's going to be a lot more straightforward because I'm not overwhelmed taking my kids or doing homeschool with my kids. I am not overwhelmed by taking them to their karate or dance or me going to choir. I am not overwhelmed by that. There are instances where you as a parent or as a person could go, okay, well, maybe I'll just drop choir for this season. But when I joined choir, my life was pretty calm and relaxed. And I feel very strongly to represent to my kids that I'm not going to quit something that I started, that's, or that I made a commitment to. So the big thing for me, the number one thing that I do is I'm like, what is my very next thing? Nothing else exists. Nothing else in the world exists until it absolutely has to, until I absolutely have to deal with that. So an example of that is when 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I got an email from the lawyers saying that we needed to do another step for guardianship. That needed to be dealt with right away. So that replaced something else that didn't need to be dealt with right away. But it was still the very next thing. I like to make checklists or lists that tell me like my next steps or the things that I have to do, or I put things on my calendar that's on my fridge that's really, really big. Excuse me. Um, I do that for the purpose that I go, okay, I can cross it out with a big black marker, or I can X the days and go, okay, look at what you've already accomplished, and the rest isn't bigger or isn't more than I can handle. This is crazy. But it was done and it was taken care of. And by doing that one thing, I was able to actually get these things accomplished and done. And so the next half of the list, or the next three quarters of the list, or whatever is going on in your life, is something that I can actually achieve and be able to do. And I don't have to feel like my world is spinning out of control, or I have too much and it's too soon and I'm falling apart, right? So the next thing is being focused on things I can be thankful for. So sometimes this is difficult. I'm going to just tell you right off the bat. Sometimes it can be very difficult to find things that you are thankful for in the moment. So when I was doing said thing for the government, as far as our guardianship papers, I was very frustrated with them because we've been down this road for so long, and they're still asking for more. And they did one of those ridiculous password things where you need to have password for this, but the password had to be so many, like the way they do it, but you couldn't have characters that were repeating. So the passwords that I usually use, or the things that I usually manipulate my passwords, have several different letters, characters that are repeated. And yeah, it was the most frustrating thing. And I'm doing this at 9 o'clock at night, and me and computers are not friends. We tolerate each other. We're acquaintances who go grr arg. And I was ready to lose it. But once it was done, I could say, okay, you know what? It's done. And I'm so thankful that it's done. We got it off as soon as we could. Yeah, it's done. And I'm thankful that that part of it is done, even though I didn't know that that was going to be a part of it, or that I was going to be dealing with that so close to his 18th birthday still. But it was something that I'm like, okay, I can be thankful and go, okay, that's one more checklist. Even if I didn't know it and wasn't on my checklist, it's one more thing done. Sometimes it's, you know what, the sun is coming out. I'm wearing sunglasses because I don't want to squint and make my eyes all squinty. um Sorry, that's my dog going shroom onto the door of the fence on her hind legs for no reason other than the birds are flying, I think. Anyway, I can be thankful that the sun is starting to feel warm on my skin. Last time I was doing videos, I ended up getting like a touch of sunburn, not crazy, but just enough. And I'm like, yay. So being thankful for things, definitely takes your brain out of a space of, oh my goodness, how am I going to cope? How am I going to deal? And says, you know what, let's focus on something else. Let's focus on something that we can go, okay, this is something good that's happening in my life. And yes, I'm still overwhelmed by all the dance festivals and all of the choir stuff and the performances and the recitals and all of those things. But I can be really, really thankful in this moment that Right now I can breathe and I can enjoy the sunshine and I can ignore my dog. And um, those are things that just change the mood, change the perspective of your day-to-day existence in this overwhelm. Like, I can't wait until the end or the middle of May when all of this is done. um but I can't live there. Living there means that I sit there and I go, this is so much and I am so overwhelmed, and I just, you can live there. And I don't like, I'm like, I still in the back of my head goes, it's going to be great May. It's going to be a great May. But I also sit there and I go, I'm not broken in the meantime before I get there, right? um Small things are things that I it still works even if there's nothing big. Feeling the sun on your face is such a small thing, but it still works to change the mood, change how you're feeling. The next thing I would say is, even in the overwhelm, keep your personal time with the Lord. Now, I know that not everyone has a relationship with the Lord or has a understanding of how this can be helpful. So if that's not you, that's okay. Um, I just, from my own personal experience, I know that when I'm reading His Word, when I am properly put in a place where He says, "This is where I want you to live," I'm not carrying things that aren't mine to carry. Um, a big one that I would say is, I sit there and go, there's verses in the Bible that tells you not to worry. And one of my favorite verses is when he talks about, it's in Matthew, where he talks about, if, by, I'm trying to like say this in paraphrase, but essentially, who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? And in some translations, it says, if you can't do this one simple little thing, then why are you worrying about anything else? And I'm a very sarcastic person. I don't know if you've noticed that, that in my videos. That's kind of my sense of humor. And I sit there and I go, yeah, like that's something that, it's such a waste of energy and time. So I could worry about how I'm going to manage the next few months. I could worry about whether or not I'm doing well, or if I'm missing something, or if I'm forgetting something, or if I'm going to make it till mid May, or is Darrion's guardianship thing going to come through, or there's so many things that I could be focused on. And when I'm focused on His Word and where He wants me to be and the things that He wants for me, um, yeah, there's a freedom there that is fantastic. I don't know if you can tell, but the sun went behind the clouds and I'm starting to shiver. So hopefully the screen is not moving as much. But I wanted to express that I do not do this perfectly. I'm not speaking from a place of I have this figured out and I am never overwhelmed or concerned with life. I don't worry about things. Um, yeah, that's not, it's not coming from a place of I know I have experienced and now I am perfect at it. It is something that I seriously have to focus on and go, okay, you're in a season of overwhelm, do not forget these things. And so, as much as overwhelm will happen to you at some point, I'm sure if you watch my videos you are well versed in the feeling. um, but these are the things that have helped me in serious times where I was like, holy mackerel, what am I supposed to do with this? And I'm so thankful to say that, again, I talk a lot about peace and joy despite circumstances. This is the formula. this is the formula, no matter whether you're going through depression, no matter whether you're going through exhaustion, no matter what you're going through, this is the formula to help you survive and then thrive. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. We'll chat with you next time. Bye, friends.